Chasing trail, kicking up dirt, sweating my eyes, but it don't hurt. Fast feet, loose rocks, send it full sail. Ain't no stopping, we chasing trail.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chasing Trail. I am your host, Teddy Tonelli, aka Teddy Tusks, and today I have an amazing Teddy Talks solo episode for you. You may be wondering, Teddy, why you dressed to the nines? Why you dress so fancy? It's because we have a very important announcement to make today. That's right. On a recent episode, we talked about the self-proclaimed king of Moab. Yeah. I made it known that, maybe I would step up to prevent the King of Mammoth sequel, Now, we'll get into that at the end of the pod here. But I wanted to take some time first to dedicate a little bit to the course that's coming up, the Mammoth 200, that I think would be useful for the people, be useful for you. And understanding that they are still waiting on some permits to be released. The word on the street is that we're good to go. September 26th, I believe, is the date. And, Teddy didn't intend on running this race, but, for the sake of the sport, it had to be done. Now, I want to start this pod by going over a little bit of the history of Mammoth. Mammoth sits at an elevation of about 7,800 feet, and it boasts a very, very rich history. See, it was inhabited first by, I believe it's pronounced the Mono peoples, and it wasn't until about 1877 that, European settlers, came over there and they told them to kick rocks because they found rocks. In fact, they found gold, and they found that at Mineral Hill. And Mammoth became a booming little mining town there, and had about 1,500 or so settlers at its height, which is impressive. Now even Mammoth has about 7,500 people that call it home. So. Not it's just it's not grown all that much. Pretty small town, So it goes from this little mining town where they displace these poor people. They say, "Hey, we found gold. You got to leave now." Doesn't seem fair, but hey, here we are. Now we go skiing. So we go skiing and then we do runs. There's a lot of mountain biking over there at Mammoth. I don't like mountain bikers. I think they're extremely rude. They always seem to be the rudest people on the entire mountain. If you notice, I don't know, maybe that's just me. But either way, there are a lot of activities that you can perform over in Mammoth. There's lots of lakes. It's called Mammoth Lakes. Originally it was Mammoth City. Now it's Mammoth Lakes. Moving on here a little bit into the race itself. See, this race, it's not just a 200 miler, it's 208. A little extra 8 miles, but I think it's worth it, you see here, because, the elevation gain, you're going to get 32,000 feet, about 32,000 feet of elevation loss as well. But you get to summit Mammoth Mountain 2 times. And once at the beginning of the race and once at the end of the race on your way back. And I think that's incredible. The views up there is spectacular. You're going to love it. If you're running the race, if you're spectating the race, if you're up there, it's a great place to go and cheer people on because the views out of this world. It's what they say, awe-inspiring. That's what they say. I don't know. The course type, this is a single loop, everybody. There's no out and backs here. There's no double loops. Single loop. Yeah. Which I think is pretty impressive to do. And they're going to have 18 aid stations along the way on this thing. It's going to be well stocked. I hear they're going to have the goo. The goo. I'm not the biggest fan of goo, if I'm being honest. Teddy has to be honest with you. It doesn't mean like I have to, approve everything that they're doing. I'm just saying, like, goo is just kind of like, what do the kids say? They say it's mid. Okay, moving on to like the terrain that we're going to be dealing with here. It's going to be, a mix of single track, some double track, but less than 5% road, which I think is absolutely spectacular. You being able to do this trail race and keep it trail, because there's lots of races out there, lots of hard races. They have the bad waters, right? It's cool, but you're running on the road the entire time. That's boring. I don't like that. One thing with this race that I find just amazing is that the scenery is unbelievable. This isn't just standard desert race, anything like that. This race is extremely scenic. You're gonna see the beauty of what California has to offer. A few notable areas that you're going to see here is going to be, obviously Mammoth Mountain. I mentioned that you get to go twice, which is great. Again, spectators, non-spectator runner people, cruise people. I don't know if cruise is allowed up on the summit. We probably have to check the runner's guide. Maybe we're going to link that in the bio, I think. But yeah, I mean, look at this. It's beautiful. Another area that you get to see is going to be the Devil's Post pile. Okay, this Devil's Post pile it's a geological marvel featuring these basalt formations, right? And they're formed over like millions of years, which is like so many freaking years. It's insane. Like I can't even sometimes write my just look at them. It's crazy. Another area that's beautiful that we get to see there is going to be Rainbow Falls, okay? And like I could just imagine, like there's 100-foot waterfalls, right? It's coming down, and like what if you get to run by it and get the mists, you get to feel the power of the falls. That's magic to me. That to me, that's absolute magic. And another place that it's not quite magic, but I guess it's magic if you're like into this sort of thing. It's cool, but like the Mono Lake Tufa Towers is cool. So what these is like these limestone formations that's rising from the lake's surface, right? That comes out like this all like white off-white color, okay? And it's like creating this like weird like landscape, looks like aliens and stuff. But to be honest, it smells terrible. It smells very bad there. It's like eggs. And I think there's like these little brine shrimp that lives in the lake. I don't even think there's fish there. The water is so nasty. There's just like these little shrimps. And they're little. You can't even make a shrimp cocktail out of them. You can't even make a good scampi. It's insane. So like, I don't know. But however, the little town there, Lee Vining, they have little ice cream cones, little ice cream shop. You go get it, and I think they make burgers and stuff and hot dogs. So good. Good hot dog and a shake. Can't beat it. Imagine this, though. You're running the room, and you're like dying. If the road section is through Lee Vining, I'm going to have to check the GPX file, because if the road section is through Lee Vining, I'm thinking that the move is that you have to make that one of your stops, because you got to get yourself a shake. You got to get yourself a burger, a hot dog, because the nitrates in the hot dogs is like superpowers. At least it is for Teddy. For Teddy, it's superpowers. Anyway, I'm moving on here. So they also's got the glass mountains that was going to be running through, which I think is great. And I actually have a picture here that I want to show you. This is Teddy. This is a younger Teddy. And I was at the Obsidian Dome, which apparently there's going to be an aid station there at the Obsidian Dome, which it's absolutely gorgeous. There was this one time, I'll tell you a quick story here. So like in that picture that you've seen there, Teddy actually wore slides, okay? Little flip-flops with these feet right here. Yeah, so it was a mistake. I admit it, because I cut my feet really bad. Apparently, Obsidian, I did not know this at the time. Teddy does love rocks. I didn't know as much about Obsidian and these volcanic rocks that they have here. They cut your feet. I learned this. But I still love the place. It's gorgeous. I love it. It's absolutely amazing. I try to go back there every single year. It's kind of like a little pilgrimage, because they got the most beautiful little rocks, little black rocks, and it's great. There's going to be an aid station there. Teddy's really excited about that one. I'm telling you what. Also, last but not least, we're going to be running through the world's largest Jeffrey Pine Forest. When do you ever get to experience world's largest? Well, a night with Teddy. Well, no, but I told you that was a bad joke. You know, you're not writing jokes anymore. Okay. Aid stations. Aid stations are going to be important on this one. Again, I mentioned there's going to be right now. This could change. This could change. Things change. But 18 aid stations right now. There's going to be nutrition. We expect to have savory, sweet. I'm excited for that. I love a mixture of savory and sweet. Like I said, there's going to be goo. I'm not big fans of goo. I'm hoping that there's tailwind. I do like the tailwind. But anyway, there's medical support. There's going to be doctors there just in case you have to like drop out of the race or something like that and like get some help. They can help you, which is good. I hear. There's going to be drop bags too. Now, Teddy's run races where I've only done it with drop bags, but I think that for a 200-mile race, you're going to need drop bags and crew maybe. Sometimes there's certain aid stations that's like hard to get to, right? And you want to have a drop bag there just in case like your crew may not get there. If it's like really close, you got to think about little things like that. That's why Teddy, now you know this, is that Teddy is an experienced crew chief. So like when I bring my experience to this, I got to step back sometimes, I got to step back sometimes, because I can't be crew chief, can't be crew chief and the runner. That would just get too confusing. I do like to take charge, but anyway, I'm going to move on here. I think that this is an epic challenge. This is huge. I am so excited that Tim has brought this to the people. California does not have a really big, huge race other than the Tahoe 200. And I think it's great to get something on the east side of the Sierra. It's beautiful. This race is going to be challenging, though. There's a 110-hour cutoff. Teddy's going to make that cutoff, obviously. We all know that Teddy's going to make that cutoff if I was to race it. But start date again, September 26th. Mark your calendars. The award ceremony is going to be September 30th at 6 p.m. I wonder who's going to be there. We will see. But to get to the topic at hand, on a recent episode with Mr. Damon Chavez, we was talking about this self-proclaimed king of Moab, Mr. Mex. Now, I don't got nothing against this Mex, I just think it's kind of silly, that you're calling yourself the king of Moab. You don't even have the fastest time on the course, So I tell myself, Teddy, are you gonna take up the mantle for the rest of the trail running community? Because they need you right now. There's only one true king of Mammoth, and his name is Tim Tollefson, the man who's created this race. Right here. Do you see that hair? Do you see that golden hair? It looks like a crown. The crown belongs there. And you compare it to this joker over here. Do I need to say any more? Now, I don't know if Max is his real name, his full name. I can't even pronounce the last name. There's too many F's and L's and J's and things. Jolife. I'm not really sure. But what I could tell you is that Teddy has a mission, and that mission is to prevent this from happening. You can't crown yourself king of Mammoth without getting through Teddy. It's not happening on my watch, pal. Now, I decided to sign up. You may have seen it on the Instagram stories. I signed up. Teddy's doing it. But I need your help. I do. I hate to admit it, but Teddy needs your help. See, this is going to be bigger than just Teddy going and running the race to prove a point, some silly point, not proving some silly point. We're going to make our own documentary. That's right. Now, the name is a work in progress. We're not exactly sure what we're going to call it yet. Obviously, you want to hit it right on the nose. You do, King of Mammoth, and we just make a bunch of KOM hats and confuse the shit out of everybody. But I'm thinking maybe if you did King of Mammoth, you have subtitle like King of Mammoth, Woolly Thunder, or something like that, or like, the Tusks of Destiny. I don't know. We haven't decided yet, but the goal is to make this documentary and show the people the process that it's going through, and what we're gonna do to really bring back and uphold the true monarchy of trail running and of the Mammoth Mountain. Protect the sanctity of our sport. Ensure that there's not some, surfer tattooed Ken doll from Orange County that's going to come to the mountains and claim that he is the king of Mammoth. No, sir. Not on Teddy's watch. Not on Teddy's watch. Look, I know. But I'm not a hero. I'm not a hero. But this isn't just a race. This is a quest. And we want you to be part of this quest. So we're going to share the GoFundMe down below. We think that we could do all of this for $10,000. Now, we're putting our money into this too. Teddy's got to make a deposit here. I haven't done it yet. Literally just made the thing. Again, Jake was no help, but we got it done. We got it up. It's ready to go. And we're ready to do this thing. And Teddy's training, My freezer is absolutely packed with frozen pizzas right now. I have so many freaking frozen pizzas. The nutrition game is going to be on freaking point, because Teddy does it different. Y'all know you know that Teddy does it different. We're doing pizzas like ever in like burritos. I got like a bunch of frozen burritos. We got Uncrustables. I even got an Uncrustable maker in case I run out of Uncrustables. I could do it the old-fashioned way with bread and peanut butter and jelly. And even if I want to, maybe I could put honey in it. Maybe I'll put some honey in there. I don't know, but I can, because the nutrition game is on point, everybody. Now look, I need you again. I need you. I need the people to help make this happen. We need to make sure that the crown stays where it belongs. And again, if we raise enough money, I think we're going to make hats. So the big supporters, you're getting hats. I'm really pushing for the hats thing. But stay tuned for updates, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope you follow along. There's going to be more to come. But Teddy's here. Have no fear. We're making hats. And we're going to go try to win this freaking race. This has been Teddy Tonelli, a.k.a. Teddy Tusks, with Chasing Trail. Teddy, out.
Chasing trail, kicking up dirt, sweating my eyes, but it don't hurt. Fast feet, loose rocks, send it full sail. Ain't no stopping, we chasing trail. Yeah.